We are very, very excited today, and I think there'll be some good news that will be shared with you in a bit. But I do want to just make one comment, is how much difference this Blue Ridge campus is making for this entire region. And it has had tremendous impact, and your students are doing amazingly well. I have one job today, and that is to introduce the speaker, but I'm going to divert just a little bit because we have a tradition where we like to, when we're very excited about some work that people have done, is to present a book to the local library. So on break, I'll ask the speaker and the governor, if they will, to sign over 2 books about the waterfalls of North Georgia and about the Corps of Cadets that we will present to the Blue Ridge Library. Thank you. So I have this long introduction for Speaker David Ralston, and I'm guessing that most all of you know his background a little bit already. And I want to spend my time talking a little bit about the impact that Speaker Ralston has had on our region and on our state. And I have had the opportunity to get to know him in a number of different ways. And I know of no finer individual, an individual who has dedicated his life to service, and that he is a public servant in the finest standard. We know that he was the 2010 named Georgian of the Year by Georgia Trend, and that he has a number of accolades. But I think that your presence here today speaks volumes about what you think about our speaker and our governor. At this time, I'll turn the podium over to Speaker Ralston.
Well, thank you, Dr. Jacobs. What a great day. Isn't today a great day to be in Blue Ridge? I told Dr. Jacobs I think Blue Ridge loves the University of North Georgia. This is a great day for the University of North Georgia, my alma mater, I'm proud to say. It's a great day for Fannin County, and it's a great day for our entire state. In fact, there's a little bit of history here. Governor, I know, this is the first time that we have had a budget bill signed in Fannin County in the history of the county. So, and I want to thank you for being here, and all of our dignitaries, and we have many here that are here. I saw some House members. One very important member is the chairman of the House Appropriations Committee, Chairman Terry England from Winder, who is very, very important in the budget process, and he's also a dear, close friend. And Chairman England, thank you for being here today. We also have our neighbor to the west who is doing a great job and is a good friend. Representative Jason Ridley from Murray County is here. Did I miss any other legislators? We have, I know Chairman Stan Helton is here from the County Commission. Chairman Larry Joe Sosby is here. Superintendent Michael Gwatney is here. Thank you for being here. Clerk of Court Dana Chastain, Chief Judge Brenda Weaver. Now I'm going to start forgetting. Mayor Whitener is here from the city of Blue Ridge. Mayor Seabolt from the city of McCaysville. And so I just met the sheriff of Fannin County here. Sheriff. Little inside joke there, but Sheriff Dane Kirby's here. Chief Johnny Searcy with the Blue Ridge Police Department is here. Judge Scott Cocker from the Probate Court is here. District Attorney Allison Sosby is here. Tax Commissioner Shirley Sosby is here. Thank you for being here. Now, there were a lot of fingers pointing me. Did we cover them all? Well, thank all of you for being here. The fiscal year 2019 state budget that Governor Deal is signing into law today is historic in many respects. First of all, it fully funds public education according to our quality basic education formula, something that has not happened in Georgia. So I'm going to say this one time and say it slowly. Austerity reductions in public education are over. That alone will mean a little over $273,000 to the Fannin County Board of Education. It injects more than $360 million into our teacher retirement system, something that's important to all of us in the General Assembly to keep the promise that we made to our retired teachers. It contains $16 million in funding to help secure our public school campuses, something that will mean over $44,000 to Fannin County alone. It does all this while keeping spending adjusted for inflation at a lower level per person than a decade ago. This budget also accounts for Georgia's first income tax rate cut in our state's history. Those are all reasons, I think, for every Georgian to celebrate. Here in Fannin County, there are, in addition to the items I've already mentioned, other items I wanted to highlight. The budget includes $25,000 to renovate the community building in Epworth. It contains $277,000 for a new roof on the West Fannin Elementary School. Y'all did pretty well in this budget, Mr. Superintendent. And today, I guess the highlight event is it contains $5.5 million for the new permanent campus for the University of North Georgia at Blue Ridge. This was a project that Dr. Jacobs and I talked about a number of years ago. My dream to have a college campus here in this mortar that wasn't going to go anywhere, that would serve the people of Fannin, Gilmer, Union, and surrounding counties. When we opened UNG Blue Ridge in the fall of 2015, it enrolled 18 students. After just 3 years, that number is more than 150 students. UNG Blue Ridge's growth rate has far exceeded our expectations, and that's something I think we can all be proud of. The new 13,000 square foot facility will more than triple the available space at UNG Blue Ridge and will be able to accommodate the needs of more than 500 students. That's 500 futures that will be made brighter right here in our community. And at the university's invitation, I'm happy to announce today that we now have a location that we can announce publicly for this new campus. The university is in receipt of an executed land purchase option regarding the land on Highway 515 east of Industrial Parkway. The contract is pending final approval from the Board of Regents, which we hope will occur over the next 30 to 45 days. This location is approximately 2 miles from downtown Blue Ridge. So we have now the funds and we have a home. And so I'm ready to put a shovel in the ground, Dr. Jacobs, and I know this community is too. To make all of this official, I have the honor of introducing a friend and a great, great leader. Since taking office, Governor Nathan Deal has conveyed what the news media has called just last week a relentlessly say this state is going to miss his leadership. I can proudly say he has been a partner in moving our state forward, and for that I will always be thankful that he has been our 82nd governor. Please help me welcome to Blue Ridge and to this historic building today, the Governor of Georgia, Governor Nathan Deal.
Pleased to be with you. I think somebody's trying to send us a message that you need some more money for an audio system here. Message received. I'll just speak a little louder. How about that? I am honored to be here today with my good friend, the Speaker of the House, David Ralston. He's been a friend for a very long time, and I have had the great honor over my tenure as governor to be able to work with him very, very closely on a daily basis. His leadership has been outstanding, and none of the things that I will touch on that are in this budget bill over here would have been possible without his help, his support, his encouragement, and his encouragement of the members of the House to vote for it. I thank the two members of the House who are here also. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here. Let me give you a little bit of a setting of what we're doing today. I'm flying around the state, and at each of the stops, we are accentuating one particular portion of the state budget. We just left Ackworth at the Chattahoochee Technical College site, and there we emphasized what was happening in the technical college arena, a very important part of our higher education components. And today, here, we are emphasizing the higher education in terms of the university system of Georgia, of which the University of North Georgia is a very important part. Now, we try every year to do our best to spend your tax dollars wisely. But you know, when I first came into office, and sometimes it's one of those, I know you get probably tired of hearing this, it's sort of like the parent telling the child, well, you know, back when I was going to school, I had to walk 5 miles to school, the snow was deep and all that. I don't want to give you one of those sob stories, I'm telling you the truth. When I came into office in January of 2011, it was a bleak time in our state. Our state revenues had dropped by more than 18%. Our so-called rainy day fund was virtually depleted, enough to spend to pay to keep the state government open for maybe 2 days. Those were not very encouraging facts to greet a new governor with, I must tell you. It was a little shocking, but those were the facts. So with the leadership of the Speaker and the cooperation of the members of the General Assembly, we set about to change the dynamic of our state, to do everything we could to make sure that we were a state that emerged from the Great Recession with a gusto and with a foundation that will last us well into the future. And I'm proud to tell you that that's exactly what has happened. This budget that I'm going to sign today is, let's see here, is, I guess, the largest in the history of our state, for one thing, but it reflects the growth of our economy. As the Speaker pointed out, for the first time since the personal income tax was put in place in 1934, that rate has been reduced, and with the potential being laid for reducing it again in 2019. So we are doing exceptionally well on many fronts. Now, the budget here today is a $26.2 billion budget. Much larger than we've had in the past. But the revenue growth has been such that we have been able to do that, and we have been able, because over these last 8 years, with the cooperation of the General Assembly, we have budgeted conservatively. We have not spent all the money we had every year. We have put it into our reserve account. And that rainy day fund that had enough money for 2 days of state government operations is now at approximately $2.3 billion. Now, I have someone here today, Teresa McCartney, who is the head of our Office of Planning and Budget. And a lot of the credit goes to her, as well as to my Chief of Staff, Chris Riley, and to the Speaker and his staff, and every member of the General Assembly, especially those who voted for our efforts. I want to talk to you about our approach to spending your money. First of all, we realize that in order to not just sustain our economy, but to grow our economy, we have to meet the needs of today and anticipate the needs of tomorrow. In the business community, it is changing rapidly. Their needs are also evolving very quickly. But one of the constants is that they need an educated and a trained workforce. Without that, we're not going to be able to see companies expand in our state, nor are we going to be in a position to recruit new companies to come here. Now, we have done very well on both of those counts, and this budget will sustain many of those programs that we've changed, many of those programs that we enhanced that have allowed that to be sustained in our economy. One of the things, of course, is since we're talking about higher education, one of the more important programs we have in Georgia is our HOPE program. It is funded through our state lottery, and as you can imagine, state lottery proceeds had dropped during the recession. And one of the first things that I was confronted with was to deal with that drop in revenue. When your revenue source drops, but your expenditures do not, in fact they accelerate, then you have a problem. So one of my first tasks as governor was to undertake changes to our HOPE programs to make them financially sustainable into the future. So I'm pleased to tell you that in terms of this budget, it adds about $68 million more to our HOPE program for scholarships and for grants for children for higher education opportunities. We have stabilized and sustained, and the reserve fund for our HOPE program is now at about $1.1 billion. So we can fulfill the promises we're making to HOPE scholars, to HOPE career grants in our technical colleges, and we can continue to attract more students to take advantage of these programs. Now, there are, of course, a lot of things that have happened over the last 8 years. And before I talk about any more, I want to just pause and say thank you to all of you. I've had the great pleasure of representing this county for a very long time as a congressman, and of course now for these last 8 years as your governor. You've always been very helpful, very supportive, and I want to thank you for that. We have greatly appreciated the opportunity to serve this state. Now, one of the things that we realized was that education needed to change in many, many ways. One of the demands that we were hearing was students, especially for their last 2 years in high school, wanted more opportunities. That is where dual enrollment came in. The opportunity for students to spend their last 2 years, at least portions of it, in our technical college system or our college and university system, and be able to get credits toward not only their high school diploma, but also for a degree or a certificate in one of our higher education institutions. I'm here to tell you today that this budget includes $26.2 million to meet the expected demand for this next year of students who are dually enrolled. Now, if you're not familiar with that program, I would urge you, if you have children or relatives who are of high school age, get familiar with it. It allows a student to, at the state's expense, acquire 2 years of either a technical college education or 2 years in a university system school. So that is at no cost to the parents, by the way, and many parents are very, very appreciative of that fact, and it's certainly something we should all be proud of to be able to do. So I'm proud that this budget includes that extra money to keep this program going. Now, I want to talk to you about another program that your area of the state has participated in, and that is one that deals with needs-based scholarships for promising young people. It is called the REACH Scholarship Program. It is designed to have teachers and administrators in your schools select promising 8th graders who probably do not come from families with the financial resources to pay for their higher education. They are selected, they are designated as REACH scholars, they sign a contract in which they agree to do several things. One is to maintain a very good grade point average, not expected to be 4.0, but a good grade point average. They sign a contract agreeing not to have any involvement with crime or drugs or any kind of disciplinary activities. They agree to abide by the instructions of their counselors, to meet with their mentors, to get extra help if they need it. And their parents or guardians also sign that contract. So it is an agreement. And when they sign that contract, $10,000 is placed in a trust account for them with their name on it, so that when they graduate from high school, they will have that $10,000 to pay for some type of higher education opportunity. It is a hugely successful program. In fact, we have just graduated last year the first cohort of high school students who participated in that first year's program. It was very, very successful. Almost all of them qualified for the Hope Scholarship. One qualified for the Zell Miller Scholarship, which is the highest level of the Hope Scholarship program you could have. And they have all been accepted into institutions of higher learning. Most of them into a college or a university, and a couple of them into our technical college system, which is good as well. So it is working very, very well, and I'm glad to see that it is growing. Now, when we unveiled the REACH Scholarship Program, we did so on the campus of Georgia Tech in Atlanta. Bud Peterson, the president of Georgia Tech, immediately announced that the Tech Foundation had agreed that they would match the $10,000 for any student who was a REACH scholar who would come to Georgia Tech after they graduated from high school. So that's $20,000. He set off a tidal wave. And Benita, I think y'all have agreed to do the same thing. In fact, I think every college and institution in our Georgia university system has agreed to do exactly that. Now, some of them got a little carried away and said, we will double that. And it magnified itself all across both the public and the private higher education community. So these REACH scholars really do have a lot of support financially, but it also is a program where the local schools and the local community are asked to raise some of the money. So for those of you who are interested in that program, I would ask that you help out with that endeavor. It is going to be money very, very well spent. Now, since 2012, with this budget for 2019, we will have added some $326.7 million in financial assistance in some of the programs we have in our financial assistance programs since I took office for our Georgia students. That's $326.7 million in extra financial help for Georgia students. I think we should all be very proud of that. Now, since 2012, we've invested over $689 million in our university system. And that includes $123 billion in this budget alone for residential instruction and research. And on top of that investment, we have allocated nearly $2.2 billion in bonds for capital outlay for university system projects, including the $375.7 million for this coming fiscal year. The Speaker has already alluded to the fact that this budget includes an additional $5.5 million for an additional instructional building here at the North Georgia, part of the North Georgia campus in Blue Ridge. And this will include the ability for new staff facilities. It will also include the ability to focus on STEM curriculum for almost 500 students and the faculty and staff that will serve. The University of North Georgia will also receive some $3 million in bonds to renovate the Lanier Tech Oakwood campus in Hall County. Many of you are aware that it is co-located with the arm of the University of North Georgia, which used to be the old Gainesville College. And with the building of a new facility for Lanier Tech, they will be vacating their space, and this $4.7 million will, the $3 million in bonds will give us the ability to renovate it so that it can be used as a part of the University of North Georgia. And there is $4.7 million in bonds in the budget to purchase property in Dahlonega, Georgia, which will enable the University of North Georgia to expand its educational opportunities for even more Georgians. And these facilities, as you know, serve a very wide-ranging area of the northern part of our state. Now, we know that there are many students who will take advantage of these opportunities. And when they do, it will help us to retain them in the state of Georgia. It will help them to have the credentials that will be necessary to get the higher paying jobs that are here today and be able to attract those jobs for the future. For a personal standpoint of a family, when your child gets those kind of credentials, the likelihood that they can stay in Georgia and not have to leave to find a good job is greatly enhanced. And I thank you all for being here today. So I'm going to ask the members of the General Assembly who are here, I'm going to ask the Speaker, of course, the President to join me, and whomever else y'all wish to designate, if you'll come behind the desk here, and I will sign House Bill 684, which is the fiscal year 2019 budget for the state of Georgia. Thank you all for being here.